everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today I'm sharing with you UF's plan for spring classes. There are some significant changes from the fall. I just want to share what those are because, well, they affect me personally, so that's why I'm making this video. Basically, now they are requiring testing. Now don't be alarmed, it's not for everybody. It's just for certain groups of students. Most significantly, it is the students who fall into 3 groups. Students who live on campus, students who have in-person classes, and students who are involved in sororities or fraternities. So that means they either live in the house or they eat at the house. So that's that. And of course, since I live in a dorm, that affects me directly. So I will be tested every 2 weeks. But the upside of all this is that it is a saliva test and not the awful nasal swab. So that is what they have said. You can find that on their website. I think it's like coronavirus.ufhealth.org, and it's under their spring 2021 plan. So it's not for all students. So if you're off campus and don't have in-person classes, you don't have to get tested. You still can get tested if you feel the need to, but again, it's only mandatory for 3 groups of students that I'm mentioning here. So routine testing will occur every 2 weeks, 48-hour window to schedule a test. All students will have to complete the weekly screening questionnaire through one UF. Testing must be completed with UF. You cannot go somewhere else to get tested. You have to do it through UF. And then a positive test for antibodies will not be accepted as a replacement for the mandatory saliva test. So any student who fails to schedule a test within their testing window will be placed in a not cleared from campus status. If the student is not cleared for campus, they will not be permitted to attend in-person classes, student events, use campus facilities, etc. If a student lives in a residence hall and fails to get tested, they will not be permitted to continue living in the residence hall. So plain and simple, testing is required, especially for those who live in the dorms. So the upside to all this is that the test is a saliva test. So it's not as bad as the nasal swab that everyone talks about, fortunately. And UF actually put a video on their website about how it works and it kind of explaining that. And I think there was a lot of fear previously associated with the test, especially in the beginning. Now there's a saliva test instead. So I actually called this months ago. I figured that UF was going to require testing in the spring, and I remember in September they announced that they had developed a saliva-based test, and I remember sharing it on my Facebook page, and I'm like, this is a good thing if UF decides to require testing, and look where we are. UF has decided to require testing. So now let's talk about dorm life. So obviously, if you test positive, if you're in close contact with someone who does test positive, you have to leave your dorm. You cannot stay in the dorm and self-quarantine or isolate or whatever. You can't do that. That's been a policy since the fall. So UF does have places for both isolation and quarantine available in other dorms. Again, you cannot quarantine in your dorm. But there was a parent last fall who was looking out for us and submitted this question to the Q&A. That question is, as a parent or guardian of a student, if my student gets coronavirus, can they leave and come home to self-isolate? The answer is 3 words. Yes, they can. You can go home. You don't have to stay in the isolation dorm. You just cannot stay in your dorm until you test negative. So next, weekly screenings. So we're still going to be doing the weekly screenings, which tests have you been in contact with someone who's been exposed to COVID? Do you have these symptoms? For those who are not in the required testing groups, it'll say, no, I don't need a test. Or it'll say, yes, you can get tested, or you can opt out. I never needed to get tested in the fall because I was never exposed to anyone who had it. So, and I never had symptoms, so I never felt the need to get tested. Now, for the students who are in those groups, testing is obviously required, so the only option is, yes, let's schedule a test. I don't know how long. Initially, UF said it was going to be 6 weeks of doing this, but that guidance may have changed and it could end up being the whole semester. So if you guys watch my vlogs, stay on the lookout for me getting tested for corona every 2 weeks. It'll be an interesting experience to add to the vlogs for sure. I'm definitely going to be documenting it. Now let's move on to mask and social distancing. So all visitors, faculty, staff, students, patients, volunteers, and vendors are required to wear a face covering when outside on all UF and UF Health property unless a distance of 6 feet or more is maintained. So for example, I walk downstairs, go out to my car, and no one else is around me, I'm in the clear. But if I'm walking with somebody, then I'm not in the clear. So you would be required to wear a face covering at that point. Exceptions include when in private offices, private workspaces with with adequate physical barriers and well-ventilated outdoor spaces where appropriate physical distancing of 6 feet or more can be maintained. Now let's move on to classes. So classes in the spring, there will be some in person, some online. Personally for me, my classes are all online, and there's like, I think 2 that are like Zoom classes like they were this past semester. So I'm okay with that. I chose to do all online just because I like the format now, and hopefully I'm also preparing for grad school classes so that they're going to be through UF Online, which means it'll just be like lectures and it won't be like through Zoom or anything. But I do say I like the online format. I've come to love it. I like Zoom University a lot better. Saved me a lot of travel time. That's for sure. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and comment down below. Just say hi or follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I post new videos every single week and new content every single week. I also post vlogs in the middle of the semester, so if you want to follow along on the last semester of my undergraduate career at the University of Florida, feel free to do so by clicking the subscribe button down below. Lots of new content coming soon. Thank you guys again so much for your support. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!